Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today's video is going to be the start of a new series here on MacInnis Mama, inspired by Abby Salter, so she will be linked down below. I would like to start doing quarterly updates on all of the book series that I'm in the middle of, as a goal of mine for 2022 is to finish at least 10 series, I believe. I will have an upcoming video on all of my reading and channel goals, but this is going to be kind of wrapping up my series for 2021. Firstly, hi, if you're new here, my name is Emily, and this is actually my second channel where I love talking about books, motherhood, and gardening, basically all of my interests outside of the beauty space, as I have more interest than beauty, and I also just love watching and making content in a variety of niches or genres, and the second channel allows me to do that. Secondly, yes, I am sick, which is why I sound a little strange, and I have a cup of hot coffee at 9 p.m. and I'm wearing 2 sweaters. All in all, I'm not doing very well, but I am so behind on videos for both channels. December was kind of a wash for me in terms of creating content. This is going to be hard. I plan on filming 4 videos in this sitting. We'll see how I go. So I'm kind of playing catch up on the videos I wanted to put up in December, but also like the beginning of the year kind of videos. So enough rambling, let's hop into it. I did do a few months ago all of the series I'm currently in the middle of, and I have started 1 or 2 more since then. I also made progress on some of those series, like read some sequels, but I haven't finished any series since then. So as of today, like starting off 2022, I am in the middle of 21 book series. Like I mentioned, I would love to finish at least 10 this year. We'll see how I get on, and hopefully like have the series I'm kind of in the middle of be less than 21. So not just like starting 20 series and only finishing 10. We'll see how I go. I'm just 21, I'm getting at the point where I'm starting to forget things that are happening, and I started way too many series in 2021. I have outstanding series from 2018, which is crazy. So those are going to be my top priorities, but I'm kind of getting ahead of myself. Firstly, I would like to chat about the series that I was successful in finishing in 2021. There are only 2 of them. The first is To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. I read all 3 books. In my opinion, that series would have been better at just To All the Boys I've Loved Before, a standalone. I wanted to finish the series because I really enjoyed the Netflix adaptation and I wanted to watch the subsequent movies, but I didn't even do that. I still have not watched the other movies. Is there all 3 of them or just 2? I don't even remember. I liked it fine enough for being a YA contemporary, but I honestly just think I'm too old and cynical for YA contemporaries, at least in the mindset I'm at right now, where I'm kind of having a bit of a hard time with my adult problems. And I just think that Laura Jean was a very naive girl, even as a teenager, like to the point where I didn't really enjoy it, is what I'm getting at. I think it was supposed to be like, oh, she's so cute and innocent, and I just honestly found it annoying. So I'm glad I'm finished with that trilogy. And the second trilogy I was able to finish is the Arc of Scythe trilogy. I loved that. I got all 3 books out from the library, and I think I gave them all... No, I gave Scythe and Thunderhead 5 stars, and I gave The Toll 4 stars. These are books that I would love to have on my shelf someday. I do think that I would want to reread them. I was kind of disappointed in the conclusion. It was a very big book. Not a lot happened in comparison to the other 2 shorter books. I found much more fast-paced and like chock full of things. I just didn't enjoy The Toll as much. It was a decent conclusion to the trilogy. It kind of leaves it a bit open-ended for a like subsequent, I can't even say that, my voice keeps cracking halfway through. There could be more books in the series. Like I didn't love how it ended. That's not how I wanted it to end. That's not how I would have ended it if I'm not if I was the author, but I'm not, obviously. But overall, I really, really enjoyed the Arc of Scythe. In 2021, I also DNF'd one series. That was the Fence graphic novel series. There were 4 books, I believe. I read 3 of them. They were cute. They were fine. Very inclusive to the LGBTQ community. I'm not really into fencing, but I loved the character relationships between them. Like I said, it was just cutesy, fun. I got them from my library. My library only had the first 3, like volume 1, 2, 3, and then there's a 4th one called Rivals or something like that. I honestly haven't even looked in a really long time, so there might be more volumes, and maybe my library has gotten it, but I remember the 4th one when I was looking on Goodreads was called Rivals or something like that. My library didn't have it, and I was honestly like not too bothered. So that just kind of showed me like why would I keep that series as like incomplete in my spreadsheet and constantly looking at it when I just don't really care to continue. It was like 3-4 stars. They were enjoyable, but not something that I'm going to actively seek out and like go on a hold list at my library for, and I have no interest in buying the series. So that was a DNF, but not for like any negative reasons. Just to quickly recap the series I started in 2021. So I started his Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. I do have a big bind up, but I only read The Golden Compass. That is a top priority to finish this winter. I would really love to complete that in the first quarter. I read Legendborn at the beginning of the year. Bloodmarked, is it out yet or maybe just released? I'm not sure. But that was like an outstanding series. I haven't finished, but because the next books weren't out yet at the time. 6 of Crows. I own Crooked Kingdom. It's just a duology. I have no excuse as to why that is still outstanding. Blood and Ash. I read From Blood and Ash and A Kingdom of Flesh and Fire in 2021, and I have The Crown of Gilded Bones en route to me, but it's not here yet. The Six by Samantha March. I read Christie, so I still have Scarlett and Lauren to read, and Breely is supposed to come out early in 2022. The Tide Child by R.J. Barker, I believe. I read The Bone Chips earlier this year, and I do have Call of the Bone Chips out from my library currently, so that is a trilogy. I'm going to be making progress on it very soon. Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. I only read The Final Empire. Embarrassing. And then just in December, I started the series of unfortunate events in a desperate attempt to meet my Goodreads goal, which I ended up not doing. I believe there are 12 books in that children's series, and I have 10 of the 12. And I'm missing like random ones. I'm missing like book 5 and book 9 or something. I'll get to those, but that's not a top priority. Maybe I will read them to my children and get through them that way. As I am going to be updating this series quarterly, I would like to set a few like goals. 6 of Crows and his Dark Materials, I would really like to cross those off in the first quarter of the year. And then at the top of my spreadsheet, the series I've started in 2018, The Lunar Chronicles by Marissa Meyer. I'm actually currently reading Cress. I don't know if I can finish the series in the first quarter of the year, but definitely want to, like, once I finish Cress, maybe I'll go on the wait list for the next book in the series from my library and just read them slowly that way. The Mortal Instruments, I have read the first like trilogy part of it, and now I'm supposed to move on to The Infernal Devices, and I have yet to do that. The Diviners, I have 2 books left. I wanted to get through that in spooky season, but I just didn't. And A Court of Thorns and Roses is pretty high on my list as well. Okay. Firm goals for the first quarter. Six of Crows, His Dark Materials, A Court of Thorns and Roses. I would really love to get through those three and then continue making progress on some other ones. We will see. There are 2 series I know I'm starting in January. I know. The first being the Dandelion Dynasty. I am joining Stephanie's book verse in her channel Read Along. I believe it's a 4-book series by Ken Liu. I have ordered The Grace of Kings. It's not supposed to arrive until January 25th, I think, which is really disappointing. So hopefully her like channel live isn't before that for the book. I'm going to have to read it like the second it arrives at my doorstep. And secondly, I'm finally going to be starting Throne of Glass. I'm doing a buddy read with one of my best friends. She received the whole series for Christmas. I received Assassin's Blade for Christmas from my brother. I asked for that. And I do have the other first 3. I know like Assassin's Blade is like book 0, right? And we are starting with that. And then I have the next 3. I have up to Heir of Fire. So what is that? Throne of Glass, Crown of Midnight, and Heir of Fire? Is that correct? I'm not familiar with the series. I've never read it before. But I do know I will be starting Throne of Glass this month. So I want, by the end of 2022, I want to be in the middle of less than 21 series and have finished 10. So I need to start less series than I'm finishing. That's basically what I'm getting at. And by the end of the year, I would love to have finished all the series I started in 2018 and 2019 at least. That is way too long. I'm going to have to try and be a bit more strategic with my reading. I'm notorious for just reading whatever I want. And I think I will do better if I pick a few series and then like kind of marathon them or binge them, not like all technically in order, but if I could fit like one book from the series into each month at least, I think that will be better. Let me know if you have any strategies for finally wrapping up book series. I feel like if you are someone who has a good strategy, you probably haven't found yourself in the mess that I have found myself in. And I know a lot of people are in the middle of 30, 40, 50 series, but how can you remember all the plot points of the previous books? That's where I'm getting at, like where I'm finding the trouble. I love starting new series, but then when I go to look at my spreadsheet and I'm thinking, oh yes, Nevernight is on here and I own God's Grave, but I've only ever read Nevernight and never continued the series or finished it. I'm going to now have to reread Nevernight to continue. Same with A Court of Thorns and Roses. I read that in 2018 and never continued. So I'm going to have to reread that in order to move on to A Court of Mist and Fury. So that is the plan. This is my first series update. I'm going to have to structure these better. Hopefully my mind will be working better and not so sick for my first quarterly update. You will be sure to see that probably the beginning of April, if not the very end of March, and hopefully I will have finished some series. Let me know if there's a series that you are currently planning on starting for 2022 and what is the series that you finished recently. I'd love to chat with you in the comments. Give this video a thumbs up if you did enjoy it, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.